All right, so let's talk about sidechain compression. I love sidechain compression, and it's something that you probably love as well. It's in all kinds of records across all kinds of genres, very typically in a lot of electronic music, but it's known to create a great pumping effect that's very audible and really can create an awesome groove. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that inside of Logic. All right, so without further ado, let's get going. So the first, I have here just some chords and then just a kick. And the first time through, you're going to hear just the chords without the kick underneath of it and with no sidechain compression. And the second time through, you're going to hear the chords with the kick under it and the sidechain compression going. This is all just Logic stuff, by the way. All right, let's go. Okay, so it was very clear to hear that the first time through we had a nice smooth feel, and this time through we've introduced a groove with the sidechain compression. Here's it without that kick there so you can really hear it. Really pumping. Okay, so here's exactly how to do that. Let's just start from scratch as if I didn't already do this. So I'm going to mute these and let's just begin. So I have a new patch here in Logic that I just made. I'm just going to grab the piano. Doesn't matter what sound you use. This works for any sound at all, and I encourage you to do it on all kinds of sounds, especially basses, by the way. Okay, so here we go. Here's a piano. This time through, I'm just going to make a very simple MIDI note just so that we can hear it very simply. Okay, there's 4 notes here. Now, I'm gonna make another new instrument. This time, I'm gonna grab a kick. So to get that kick, I'm gonna go to Electronic Drum Kit. I'm gonna grab just the Boutique 808 kit, just because it has a nice, simple and clean kick that I think will work nicely for this. You can use any kick at all, any sound trigger at all, actually, but the kick just typically works very nicely. And I'm gonna put it 4 on the floor, so on every quarter note, just keep it simple. Here we go. And by the way, I did that by hitting Command R was the hotkey to duplicate that. Okay, so here we go. Now I have these 2 components. But there's no sidechain compression happening, there's no pump. So here's exactly how we do that. We're on this track here. On the left side in the plugin strip, I'm going to go to the bottom, and I recommend you put your sidechain compression at the very end of your signal chain so it doesn't muddy up other things. So here we go, compressor, stereo, and at the top right, we see sidechain. I'm going to click this. Now, these are all of our options that this compressor can listen to activate this effect. We want it to listen to our kick. Right there, I've labeled it kick, and so I'm just going to click that, as simple as that. You know what? That actually isn't right, because this kick was my old kick. Let me just make this new one, the one that's actually the one I'm going to call this kick new, just for the sake of this tutorial here. Let's select that. There it is, right there. You saw it dynamically change the name, so I'm going to choose that. Now this sidechain is applied to, or this compressor is applied to this kick. Now, let's hear what it sounds like right off the bat. Okay, very little happening, but notice that every time that kick is going, this is bumping. So that means that this is working. Let me just turn it off so you can see what it's like without it. Nothing at all happening. Okay, so let's play with this now. I'm going to make the threshold, which is going to determine how much of our signal the compressor is actually going to compress when we pump it. I'm going to bring this down. Okay, that got a lot more extreme, didn't it? You could really see as I brought that threshold down, the pump begin to happen. And we can hear that too. Okay, now I'm going to increase the ratio, which is going to change the extremeness of that pump, almost the level of how abrupt it is. So let's check that out. You see how much more extreme that got when I turn up the ratio? We could really hear it. Okay. So when you sidechain compress, it's really going to be a a game of you playing with this threshold and ratio to determine where your groove is going, the depth of your groove is going to be created, how that's going to work for your track. These are your two magic knobs to play with. Now, there is two other knobs, or three more down here, that are of significance. And these are going to determine the shape of how that compression is applied over time. So we're looking at the knee, the attack, and the release. Let me just do some extreme settings here so you can really hear what happens. If I bring the attack all the way down and the release all the way up, it's just always on. There's no pump at all. So let's bring this release gradually down and watch what happens. Okay, so now we're beginning to get an effect happening. So notice that as I change the release, this is our control for when that pump ends and reverts back to us hearing the sound. So let's kind of fine tune this a bit. Notice how much faster it lets go over here. So let's create more of an exaggerated pump by making it a little bit longer. Nice. Okay, so we're kind of locking into a pocket. Now let's do the same thing with the attack. What you want to listen for this one is how much of the sound stays present when that kick drum hits. And the longer the attack is, the more delayed that compression down, that pump effect's going to be. So if we have it right away, that compression pump should be happening right on the kick drum. And as I push it off, it will begin to happen off the kick drum. So let's listen specifically to that. So now we have a little bit of a delay between when that kick happens and when that pump happens. And that's much more immediate. And I recommend that you try extreme settings, by the way, to get a feel for what your compressor is doing, and then dial it into your taste with all of these settings. And lastly, we have the knee. And the knee is a more subtle effect, and it's going to determine the shape at which that compressor kind of is hitting the actual pump effect. I know if there's probably a better way to describe that, but it's a more subtle thing. Let me adjust this. When it's at 0, it's more of a off-on. When it's at 1, it's more of a slower ramp. It's a subtle thing, but that's what's nice about this, is that you can really dial in the groove that you want to create with a simple compressor just being sidechained to something. So I think that your biggest things to focus on are your threshold and your ratio to get that pump happening. And if you don't do it enough, it becomes more subtle. And that's actually great too, especially when it comes to mixing. We don't always need it to be so exaggerated, but we can make it exaggerated if we want to. I absolutely love using this effect. So I hope that this short little tutorial was helpful for you to see how easy it is for you to begin using sidechain compression in your productions.
The Pyramind Mentorship Network connects you to experienced professionals for truly customized private training in music production, sound design, music business, and more. Use our scheduling tool to select the type of training you want. Pick your mentor. Find a day and time that works best for you, then book your session. Your appointment will be confirmed instantly. Study only what you want. Progress at your own pace. Pay as you go. And do it all from the comfort of your home or studio. Our global network of industry experts are here to help you. Visit pyramind.com/mentorship to get started.